We drink a lot of beer on this show. So how do we keep our six packs intact, you ask? We stay fit and healthy with the help of Fnx Fitness. Fnx is your one-stop shop for all your fitness supplements, gear, and inspiration you need to reach your workout goals. They've got classic protein powders as well as the pre-workout powders. Also, they have Club Rise, a new community-based subscription program for the Rebalance Super Greens. You can add these greens to shakes to get your daily dose of greens, vitamins, and antioxidants for healthy aging, immunity support, and efficient energy production. Just visit fnxfit.com and enter our promo code in at checkout for a discount. That's HOPOD15. That's HOPOD15 for 15% off your entire order. Together, we can fuel for greatness with FNX.
What up, people? Welcome into it. We are back with another round of beer drinking. This is the Hop.
Yes, sir.
With Gabe and Steven. That is Gabe right over there. I am Steven. And we're going to Michigan today. We're Michiganders for the day. We're going
Wolverines.
Sure. Sports things. We're going to Bell's Brewery, which is
hell yeah.
A huge brewery that it's kind of unbelievable that they haven't been on our show yet, but they haven't. So
yeah, we were thinking about that, but here we are. We're finally doing it. One of the most popular breweries in the world. They have some of the most popular beer in the world. One of their beers has won beer of the best beer in America for many years in a row. Spoiler alert, we have it, and we're very excited. Thank you guys for joining us on this great Thirsty Thursday.
It's one of those breweries that has been around since the 80s and was there kind of on the forefront of the craft beer boom. It's one of those breweries that kind of led the charge in that regard. So it's a great brewery. They are, we've talked a lot about them in the news of late because of their sale to the Australian company. We'll get into that a little bit more, but their brand is still their brand, and they are still an excellent company that we're very excited to feature. So here we go. 3 beers, 2 separate, 1 together, and we're going to give you all you need to know about Bell's Brewery, the great brewery out of Michigan. So yeah, let's get into it. Follow the socials. Follow us on YouTube if you want to see the beer, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm at Shakespeareist if you're interested in my once every 3 month posts. Gabe is at Gabe867. Gabe, you ready to do some news?
I'm ready to do some news right away.
Beer news.
All right. Now, before we start the news and notes, I'm going to give a nice humble brag to Steven because Steven just did something pretty epic and exciting in his life. He just graduated and got a master's degree. So, Steven, congratulations, my man.
Oh, thank you.
He did the damn thing. He got the cap and gown, posing like he owned the school. That was one of the best pictures I ever saw.
Thank you.
Very happy for you. Very proud of you. Well done. I know it's hard. It was a 3-year program, but because of COVID, it was a 4-year program. That sucks, but well done. You deserve it. This first beer that we're each drinking separately, I'm dedicating my first one to you.
Well, thank you, buddy. That was very unexpected and lovely. And
humble brag.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I'm glad to be have rejoined the world of not students. So here we are. But yeah, we did the cap and the gown, the whole thing. It felt weird, but exciting. And I guess I've mastered acting now. So what's next?
Hell
On to
yeah.
the doctorate, right?
Oh boy.
No, thank you.
There's another 8 years right
No.
there.
Okay, let's talk about beer. Last week was American Craft Beer Week. We had the week off, but hopefully you had a drink in honor of it. We sure did. It's time for summer beer. trends to look out for. Look out for gozas, salt, lime, lagers, that fun stuff, sours, shandies. They are coming out. So get
Beach
your hands
beers.
on them. Beach beers. So that's fun. Athletic Brewing has reached the status of certified B Corporation. That's exciting for them. They're also apparently going to be having an IPO in the next couple of years. So some fun news out of the biggest non-alcoholic brewer in the country.
They're taking off. I mean, they had an idea and they ran with it, and people got on board. So good for them.
And Stone Brewing dropped it. They let it go. Their lawsuit against Sycamore Brewing. I think Stone is just tired of being in court. So they're just like, fine.
They're tired of paying that lawyer those overdraft fees.
It was over the phrase, keep it juicy. And they just, they let it go. So good for you guys. We love to see people resolving their tensions.
Yeah. Everyone relax.
Let's see. Our first story, we just want to give a mic drop out here to Anderson Valley Brewing. Anderson Valley Brewing is a company that has been on our show. If you are interested, you can go check them out. I don't have the round number in front of me, but they were on our show once. They're the guys from Boonville, company out of Northern California, and we love them very much. And guess what? It was round 76, so you can go check that out.
There you go.
But the company, it's not huge news, but it's fun. And, sometimes we could just use good news every now and then. And so this is one of those days for me. Basically, the company put out a press release that was headlined, "We actually like our customers." And they were basically talking about inflation in the beer industry and how inflation has, raised the price on beer, craft beer, or macro beer, and basically how they're not going to do that, which we love. It's a commitment from President Kevin McGee. He basically said the company is committed to holding the prices of their products in spite of inflation, at least for the next 6 months. They also use the opportunity to call out beer giants like Constellation Brands, as well as Heineken.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
For quote, using the perception of inflation, not the actual impact of inflation, as an excuse to raise prices, which is...
Ooh.
Damn, Kevin, get him. So they said, the company said in their press release, "We have a lot of the same supply chain and transportation cost pressures that others are dealing with, but thanks to some adjustments in the way we operate, like a sustainability initiative that dropped our packaging supply and chain shipping needs by 75% and finished goods shipping by 30 to 35%, we've been able to offset these costs and maintain enough margin to keep our people employed." Not every craft brewer is going to be able to do this. We recognize that, but it's just, it deserves a shout out in my mind that there's a craft brewery, they are very much a craft brewery, family owned operation up in Northern California that has decided to handle the problem of inflation, if possible, by not offsetting that onto their customers and putting that burden on their customers. So in an age where...
with the prices and whatnot, that's great.
In an age where apparently at the PGA Tour, it costs $19 to buy a Michelob Ultra.
Oh, God.
I appreciate that. Yeah, Anderson Valley Brewing.
Yikes. I mean, it's how it is at every ball game. Like, I love Yankee Stadium, but my God, you want a Bud Light, it's like $12. And that's like the nicest beer they have.
Yeah.
It sucks.
God forbid you want craft beer.
God forbid.
If you can find it.
Citi Field prices are... normal.
Citi Field better. I haven't been to Dodger Stadium yet, but I want to go, and I will report back.
Well done. In other news, there is once again a Pennsylvania beer collab for veterans just in time for Memorial Day. 20 veteran breweries in Pennsylvania are collaborating for the third year in a row. Basically, what they're doing is they're making a beer that is, quote, by PA veterans to support PA veterans. It's called Adapt and Overcome Danger Zone Pale Ale. Highway to the danger zone. Like, that should just be playing in the background. I know, we messed up. Anyway, the beer is set to release all throughout Pennsylvania on Memorial Day weekend 2022. Proceeds of the sale going directly to Keystone Military Families Organization. It is a 6.3 hazy pale ale boasting notes of pineapple, papaya, melon, and berry with a dank and grassy finish. It is also added with Keystone Pale and Vienna Malt, Strata, and Triple Pearl hops were also added to it. It will also include ingredients sourced from Pennsylvania veteran-owned businesses. There are a lot of breweries that are involved. We don't have time to name all of them, but, Stony Run Brew House, Brewers, Pittsburgh, Cellarworks Brewing, Seven Sirens Brewing, many, 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 many more. If we didn't say your name, we apologize. We're running out of time. The Keystone Military Families Organization, which the collab is supporting, it was founded in 2002 in Shoemakersville, Pennsylvania.
I love it.
Great town name. Yeah, it's amazing. Primary mission is to support Pennsylvania military families every week with groceries, clothing, household items, furniture, and more. Another one of those beer for a cause. If you see the beer, friggin' buy it. If you see the beer, friggin' drink it. It goes for a good cause. It's a 6.3% hazy pale ale with all those notes of good stuff. How could you go wrong? Look out for it. Once again, it is the Adapt and Overcome Danger Zone Pale Ale.
Just in time for Memorial Day. Love to see
Just
it.
in time.
And this is the third year they've done it, so tradition going strong.
Yeah, pumped.
How could you go wrong? All right, this one breaks my heart, but it is very sad that we have to report today that Spencer Brewery has had to shut it down. Spencer Brewery out of Massachusetts. We love them very much. This is a brewery that was very much slated for its own episode of The Hop. Never happened. They were featured on Round 96, their Monkster Mash Pumpkin Ale. I think that was probably our Halloween episode that year.
Mm-hmm.
But they never got their own episode, and they definitely were on my list. I love them. I've been to their space. I've met their head brewer. So it's sad to see it go. It was the country's first and only certified Trappist brewery in the United States. Which may have been redundant the way I said that, but it was a big deal. The company said in a Facebook post that, quote, after more than a year of consultation and reflection, the monks of St. Joseph's Abbey have come to the sad conclusion that brewing is not a viable industry for us and that it is time to close the Spencer Brewery. So
damn it.
This one's personal. It's like 30 Mile.
Yeah.
It might be weird to throw up a Halloween episode as our Throwback Thursday, but maybe we'll do that next week in honor. But Spencer Brewery, if you're able to get your hands on their beer, which I've seen their beer out here in California, so they had a wide distribution network, and beer will be available while supplies last. If you're able to get your hands on it, especially the purple label, which is the
quad
reserve, quad, yeah.
Because I had it recently, and I remember I think I took 4 sips, and I was like,
it's so good.
Wow. Okay.
It's so
good. And
I
also remember when you went there, you got those glasses, and in the beer glass, it's like a stem teku glass. And yeah, it had a little thing in it, and it's kept scratching the beer and moving the beer.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned a lot when I did a tasting session with them at a fair, and their head brewer was there. And I learned a lot. This was before we ever had the podcast. It was, I mean, I was into craft beer, obviously, but it was a long time ago, and I learned a lot about, they really did a beautiful job of taking people through the sensory, 5 senses experience of tasting a beer, from what it looks like to what it feels like in your mouth.
That's where you got your training for the hop.
Yeah, sort of. I became a Cicerone in 15 minutes. But they're just a great company that I'm sad to see go. And they were doing good for their community as well. So, like we said, it's personal. Get your hands on it if you can. Sorry, guys.
We love you, Spence. Spency boys.
All right. For something a little different, this is not really a gross thing, but we didn't want to make a different drop for it, so this will just be all.
We love the drop, so we're just going to do it.
We just like to
talk
look
about what the hell is going on in the world.
This Week in Gross.
I don't even know how to say this. Is it 12-5 Beverage Company? Is that how you say it?
I guess.
It's the word 12 with the number 5. So
yeah, I'll just say that it's annoying to look at. I'll say that.
Correct.
Because when you read the article and you try to get a sense of what's going on, like there's just so many products that they're putting out in this press release, and that just keeps, the word is every 12.5, 12.5, 12.5. And it's like, okay, what is the product? Like, what are you
The product is apparently hard juice, not hard seltzer, not hard, kombucha, coffee, latte, although they have those products. They're marketing hard juice.
Yeah, this is a company out of Wisconsin that markets themselves as the, quote, founders of the hard coffee category. So we've heard of hard coffee before. This is a company that led the charge on that, apparently. And they said, quote, we're excited to introduce our consumers to a new progressive adult beverage that can both enhance their occasion while providing a full flavor beverage experience, and it's juice. So I don't know. I guess
don't give it to little kids because they won't feel right afterward.
I guess there's a market for that. I mean, at this point, we have hard seltzer, we have hard tea, we've got coffee, we've got water, not carbonated, just hop water, flavored water. There's a non-alcoholic version of that. I'm not sure if there's an alcoholic version of that. The floodgates are open, people, and
those ready to drink cocktails. Some of them sound great. Some of them sound like death.
But if you want the juice, 12.5 has a yuzu, an orange starfruit, a mango, and a blueberry acai flavor. They're coming out with a juice variety pack, and they're also debuting what they're calling their hard brunch variety pack. And this is a variety pack that includes their original hard coffee, as well as a mocha hard latte, as well as some malt-based beverages like an orange mimosa, a peach Bellini, and a strawberry sangria. So, good morning.
So if you can't go to brunch, you can still have it.
You can drink it.
Pick up one of these. You can drink it. Yeah, exactly. Literally. It doesn't sound gross. Doesn't sound like it might be for us, but
right.
Hey, I'll
like
try anything once.
The segment name is a misnomer because we're not saying this sounds gross because it's juice and the flavors do sound good. So I'm sure.
Half the reason we just wanted to play the drop, but
yeah.
It looks like they are all 5%. Which I guess is fine, but yeah. It looks like White Claw cans, just the logo and the size of the can, those small slender cans.
They all claim to
look out
be
for them.
100 calories, so hopefully not a lot of sugar.
Healthy.
Yeah, look out for them. Or
healthy juice.
Or don't. I really have no stake in this game. I just wanted to talk about it and tell the people it exists.
Or just go grab a beer and do yourself a favor. I don't know.
Speaking of which,
let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're drinking bells. So I'm going to be reading off some lyrics from White Hinterland's song, Ring the Bell. No time for farewells. I don't get much done on a road too soft. Sure, we fell on some hard times, honey. Who doesn't? Doesn't mean we can't get back up. I always say this song will be the last I ever write. But I also said this year will be my last. Chasing you up the hill, come on. Ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell for me. I need you to ring the bell, and I'll come to you. Don't think yourself unusual, like you're the first to send a prayer, way out into infinite unknown, only to be told return to sender. One of us is always halfway out the door, when the other one wants back in. But honey, the distance we cover is only equal to the work we put in. So come on, ring the bell.
That was on the nose.
I will admit, the lyrics make it sound a lot better when it's in the song. I clearly am not doing it justice, but it said the word bell. I figured
lot, yeah.
This is a cool song. It says bell. Why the hell not?
If you forgot what brewery we're doing, it definitely reminded you. There's no question about that. I liked it. It was nice.
Ring a ding ding.
I believe I hear a bell. Terrible. That was awful.
I know, but that was just for us.
Okay. All right, so
you're going first, right?
I am going first because the beer I am drinking was the first beer. I'm drinking their Amber Ale here it is. It's classic amber ale, one of their most popular options. It was their flagship brew back in the 80s. This beer is 5.8% ABV.
Whoa.
That would be crazy. 5.8% ABV. IBUs are at 32. Beer Advocate has it at 86. Untapped has it at 3.59. Here it is in the glass SRM chart. It's definitely an amber ale. I'm going to put it around a 16 or 17, I guess. It's on the lighter side of what amber ales can be. It's not the deep mahogany color. It's a little bit more golden. So amber ales tend to, ride the line in between there. I would say it's pretty clear in the glass, not very hazy at all. Lots of bubbles coming up from the bottom. Looks like a decent carbonation going on. It poured with, I would say, about a thumbnail worth of kind of stringy, sudsy tan foam. Decent retention. Little bit of lacing going on as well. I love an amber ale. We talk about it all the time. This is a great style. It's just
hell yeah.
Red ale, amber ale. It's got
it's
just enough.
Such a good beer to fall back on. If you're at a bar or a barbecue and there's not a lot of great options, I feel like any brewery can't really go wrong with a nice amber or red ale.
It's got a little bit, it's got a kiss of the hops, right? It's got a touch of bitterness, but it really leads with that sweet caramel, the maltiness, the toasted malts and everything are just so delightful and so drinkable, and so they pair well with anything. It's just such a great style that I love. So we got caramel and toasted malts in here. It's marketed as having a clean bitterness, herbal, and citrusy hop aromas. From the brewery, this is the beer that helped build our brewery. It's incredibly versatile with food, but very tasty on its own, featuring, again, toasted and sweet caramel notes from carefully selected malts, balanced with herbal and citrus hop aromas, capped by a clean bitterness. So,
amen.
That's what we're doing.
This is the first beer they've ever made. So no pressure, Steven.
Right. I'm sure they never changed the recipe at all.
Yeah.
Sure, it's exactly the same as it was in the 80s. It's funny because on their website, they have a picture of it next to on the timeline where they're like, the first brewery we made. The first beer we made, and the beer that the guy is holding is like a dark beer. Like, it's not this. So I don't know if he's just holding a different beer. I don't know if that's meant to go together, but it looks weird. I don't
know if somebody messed up the photos or what. But yeah, it looked very different. But yeah, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, so on the nose, there is a vibrant fruitiness to this. Good citrus quality. Definitely got that green apple, a little bit of white grape, that sort of stone fruit thing is there. There are the caramel malts, of course. There's plenty of honey, very grassy on the nose. A hint of something that I might call vanilla, maybe a little bit, like a little sweetness or creaminess on the nose. Interesting. What it's not is very nutty. Sometimes these amber ales can have a lot of toasted quality to the point that there's a nuttiness. This doesn't have that. It really kind of leans more on the citrus side, the herbal side. So yeah, but malts definitely lead on the nose as well. I think that the hops make themselves known on the nose more than they will in the mouth. But it smells great, solid to me. I like it. Great. So I'm going to drink it. That's great. You do that. I am very quickly just going to mention off of the Bell's website. It is one of their year-round options, obviously. They have a lot of interesting facts, ingredients, beer, alcohol by volume, the notes and whatnot. And then here's something that you don't see a lot of breweries do on their website. It says shelf life, 6 months, which I found to be interesting. So they really give you everything, original gravity, nutritional information. Lol, don't look at that. They really give you all the information. So Bell's really knows what's going on. They are a old school brewery through and through. And sorry, guys, it took 116 episodes.
We were going to get to you eventually. Relax. You're not going anywhere.
We put off the middle of the country. We'll get to there. We're bad about it. We're coastal people. What do you want from us?
Also, side note, I went to a coffee shop this morning that also sold craft beer, and there were a bunch of beer from Chicago from Off Color Brewing. We did them a little while ago, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get coffee here every day from now on.
Yeah, Off Color is...
they're just everywhere now.
They are taking off. But this beer, classic amber ale, hits all the notes you wanted to. Definitely the rich, sweet malts are there. Caramel, honey, agave. Little bit of bitterness from the hops in the back end, but that's not the prominent thing. It's definitely not got an IPA, but it's got enough sort of hoppy bitterness to let you know they are there, and this is an ale. Plenty of fruit. Again, the citrus is there. The grapefruit is there. There's like a berry quality to it, maybe raspberry or something like that, like a little bit of red berry. And again, the green apple. Some grass, some corn, all this stuff. The breadiness is there. It's very rich in flavor, and it's very nice. Super drinkable. Like I said, it would be. Leaves the mouth very clean. You could chug this very easily. The carbonation is surprisingly high. I will say that it's sort of like moderate to high, which I guess makes sense for the style, but it's more carbonated than some that you might find, some red ales that you might find. So it's definitely got a zing to it in the mouth. I've seen it described as a little bit thin. I don't know that that's the word I would use for it because it has a negative connotation, and I don't think there's anything about this that is watery. I don't think there's anything about it that's lacking flavor. I think it's incredibly balanced. I think it's incredibly clean and smooth, and it's what this style is supposed to do. So I think it's great. It could pair well with any kind of food. Like they said,
hell yeah.
They said it's super versatile, and it's like, yes, it's just such a crowd pleasing option. If you're a super hop bomb IPA head, this may not really scratch your itch, but this is something that I think a lot of people can get behind because it's very approachable.
Right. That's the other thing. I mean, are you going to feel buzzed after two? Maybe not. But at the same time, do you want a really good beer that can also pair well with, food or like a burger or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I am going to print a retraction on the lacing. There ain't none. It's just clean in the glass. There's no lacing. My bad.
Whoops. I said whoops. That's great. Great.
I feel like I'm drinking alone.
Tag me in, please.
So why don't you join me here?
Let's do it. I've got the Lager of the Lakes, the Bohemian Pilsner. I got to be honest, I just saw it and I thought it was cool. This golden lager sparks throughout thoughts of sandy beaches and freshwater islands. We'll see about that. 5%, 34 IBUs. Beer Advocate gave it an 83. Untapped gave it a 3.48. From the brewery. Following in the tradition of Czech Pilsners, this crushable lager offers a combination of firm malt and herbal hop bitterness. This beer is as refreshing and crisp as a swim in the Great Lakes. This beer spends 6 weeks maturing in the fermentation vessels. This extended conditioning period refines the overall flavor, highlighting the contributions of the malts and hops. I've heard it described as a great barbecue beer. It was first brewed in 2006. So wasn't one of their first ones, but wasn't one of their last ones either. This is what it looks like in the glass. My boy Tyrion is here. He's hanging out with us.
Classic.
SRM chart, it's very yellow, light yellow. I'd call it maybe like a 3 or a 4. It's just very light. Looks like there is some stickiness on the glass. Not a lot, but a little bit. Once I start drinking more, I will report back. The head retention, it didn't really pour that strongly with one, but right now there's kind of a ring around the glass of, I would call just ivory foam, about a centimeter thick, not much. And let's get a sniff, shall we?
Yeah. So Yours, it would surprise me if there's a lot of lacing going down the glass once you start drinking it. I think, like mine, it might be a little deceptive. But it's a Pilsner. These are kind of the most approachable beers they have. We went for Bell's Brewery. They have, and we'll get into what they have on tap and stuff. They have a huge lineup of beers, obviously, and they have some stuff that is a little bit more niche. We opted right for their year-rounders this time. Just like, let's do what everyone can get their hands on. And I think that starting with an amber ale and a Pilsner is sort of the most like classic way you could go.
Yeah.
And I love the artwork on that can that you were just holding up.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got like a map and,
it's very, very bohemian, I would say.
The Great Lakes. That's why it's called the Bohemian Pilsner.
We
all
did
connects.
it. We made it. We're here.
It smells like a Pilsner. It's kind of got like some lager vibes to it. It smells a little German, very weedy, very malty. Some hoppiness in there. Not a lot. Smells a little clean, smells a little herbal as described. I read a review that said lemongrass. I would agree with that. A little fruity, a little weedy. And Steven, I really hate to make you drink alone. I really don't want to be that guy. So here we go.
I need a cheers, buddy.
I'm going to help you out.
Join me. This beer that Gabe is drinking was first brewed in 2006. One of the fun things about Bell's website, a lot of brewery websites have sort of a history timeline where you can go over sort of, major milestones in the brewery's, life span. But Bell's decided that we needed to know the first time they brewed basically every beer. So every single beer is pinpointed on there. And a lot of them have really long shelf lives. I mean, beer that Gabe is drinking now has been around for 15 years. The beer that I'm drinking,
have to say, on the site, seeing what every year they brewed each beer, I kind of had an appreciation for that. I was like, that's dope. Like, that's really cool. That's because there are a lot of people, not just us, that are going to be looking at that site because they're just interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The beer that I'm drinking has been around since 85.
Damn.
I mean, we're coming up on, 40 years?
Whew.
95,
Not bad.
50. Yeah, we're coming up on 40 years of amber ale. So, not necessary, but appreciated. Thanks, Bells.
All right. First off, this beer is very cold, and it's great because it is hot as hell in New York. Like, the same thing happens every year. It's cold, then it starts to get warmer, then it gets really nice out, and then all of a sudden, summer. It's hot, 1,000 degrees. It just comes out of nowhere, and that's how I feel right now.
Seasons. I just like that you're like every year this happens. Like it's cold, and then it gets warmer, and then it's hot, and then it gets cold again, and then it's
right. But there's no gradual build like there should be. It's literally like, oh, it's so nice today. Oh, it's so nice today, and then that third day, you're dying in the heat and you can't breathe. It's insane. Anyway, the beer is cold, and that's great. I love it. It's awesome. There's a little bit of fruitiness on it in the taste somewhere, somehow. I don't get it. I don't need to get it. It's awesome. It's got the strong malt backbone. It's very crushable, very, very crushable. It's smooth. It's light carbonation. I read medium. I saw medium. I saw full. Light carbonation does the job. It sits in your mouth and it just goes down so smoothly. It's very refreshing. It's very, very refreshing. The fruitiness is something of, it's more on the citrus side of things, but I feel like it's got, that white grape, that green apple, that light fruitiness to it.
Stone fruit thing. Yeah.
Stone fruit thing. Yeah. Boysenberry, maybe. I don't know. But I really enjoy it. I think this is a perfect knockout 10 out of 10 barbecue beer. Unbelievable.
Bang! Exclamation point.
Like you could, if you only had this at a barbecue, you'd be set. This is the perfect, I want to be outside. I want to be in the sun playing cornhole, playing darts, jarts, the lawn game, I want to be outside just, smoking a pig.
I love it.
Sure.
When's the last time you smoked a pig?
Yes. Moving on.
Let's talk about Bell's Brewery as an
Bell's,
operation
man.
here. So founded by Larry Bell, who moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan. Very fun town name.
Kalamazoo.
Who doesn't love Kalamazoo? Larry moved there for college, started homebrewing, age-old tale.
He originally called it Kalamazoo Brewing Co.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
For some reason that was dropped. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, they don't really go into detail. I think he was just like, I can just imagine someone went up to him and was just like, listen, it's really hard to say in one breath. How about Bell's?
Kalamazoo
that'll work.
Proud, Larry.
Don't give up.
So the Amber Ale obviously was the first beer to come out, as I mentioned, 85. And the brewery grew and grew and grew and has been going strong ever since. They eventually needed to move to a larger space. They built a new brewery. We could go on and on over their again, 40-year history at this point.
15-barrel brew system. In 2001, they purchased 5 acres in Comstock Township, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
They had to expand. They've gotten awards. West Michigan's Best and Brightest companies to work for in the nation, 2015 to 2020. Still going strong. Best and Brightest in Wellness, 2016 to 2020. Also, all the awards that all of the beers have won individually. Too many to count.
And Larry Bell himself was awarded one of the Brewers Association awards that we have talked about.
Yes.
Which one it was exactly is slipping my mind, but he was awarded, the Brewers Association Recognition Award, which was for Bell's innovative brewing and dedication to the industry, including acting as a driving force with then Denver Mayor John Hickenlooper. He's a senator. He became a senator. Hickenlooper for the creation of American Beer Month, now American Craft Beer Week. So Larry Bell is the reason that we have an American Craft Beer Week. I mean, let's give him a joke box because you already covered the mic, Green.
Larry Bell, you are quite literally unbelievable. You know that, right?
And now he's retired. So
now, rightfully so. Put your feet up, grab one of your beers, and chill the hell out.
He's
because
relaxing.
you have earned it.
We've talked about this a whole lot. The company is then sold to Lion Little World Holdings. That is an Australian company. They're a subsidiary of a Japanese company, which is a conglomerate that's very, very big. It's called Kirin. None of that stuff totally matters. The company, except that Lion Little World also owns New Belgium, so it's like that. Like New Belgium and Bell's are not merging, but their distribution
they're cousins now.
Yeah, and their distribution footprints are merging. So that's why we had to report a few weeks ago that there were a few people that ended up getting laid off because they didn't need people selling in the same regions. But the brands are still the brands. The companies are still the companies. They're maintaining, what they are. So it doesn't make a big difference, but I'm sure it does for Larry Bell, because he is on a boat somewhere.
If you go to the Bell's website and you look at the About section and you look at all the timeline of when all the beers was brewed and how the brewery started, the photos of him as a young man are just literally adorable. He was it's just hilarious. But yeah, he should be on a boat somewhere.
And we have to move on, but before we do, I do want to mention several important pieces of their operation. One is their commitment to sustainability. We see this a lot, but we always love when we do see it. They have a whole lot of things that they do around their brewery to really, approach sustainability and make sure that they are a responsible and environmentally responsible operation. These things include an 85-ton geothermal field that they use to exchange heat and offset heating, ventilations, things like that. They use LED lights for 75% more efficient lighting in their entire brewery. They have a CO2 vaporizer that repurposes heat generated from wort fermentation to convert liquid CO2 into CO2 gas that they can use for brewing. All of this stuff is very scientific and I'm sure would be very interesting to people that are sciencey, but suffice it to say, they're a very sustainable operation. And we love that commitment. Also in the way they go about waste mitigation, repurposing spent grain that they can sent to nearby farms to be used as cattle feed, things like that. And then in 2020, they also opened a recycling co-op, allowing brewers in the area and manufacturers to drop off grain bags and super sacks, which otherwise they wouldn't be able to recycle. And then they recycle them through a single stream aggregation and desensification process, which is very cool and shows that they're sort of a leader in the area. You know, smaller breweries turn to Bell's in terms of how they can approach things like sustainability. And then in addition to that, I want to quickly talk about their commitment to diversity. This is a core tenet that we, it's a core tenet of us as a show, and it's something we look for and love to see whenever we approach a brewery. And it's got a whole section on their website about, and it's a lot of stuff about their commitment to equity and inclusion in their workforce and in their customer base and different things like that. But one actionable thing that I did think was cool was they actually brewed a beer called Briosa or Brilosa. I don't know how you would pronounce it, but basically it was a beer brewed to shine a spotlight on various cultures within the Latinx community and their employees. So it came from speaking to employees at the brewery, and it was a special beer release and event that was a Vienna style lager. And there have been a number of these though. This is like the 7th one they've done. And basically they work with their employees to come up with ways that Bell's can not only talk the talk, but walk the walk in terms of promoting diversity in the brewing industry. So
right. And who better to do that with than your own employees, sit them down and kind of ask, how can we work together to make this happen, as opposed to, just the people in charge just making a call. It's inclusionary, and that's what we love to see.
Yeah. And their beer's designed by employees at the brewery, meant to celebrate those employees and their cultures and who they are as people. So basically all this to say, Bell's is an operation that's been around for decades, and they brew great beer, but they also do great things for the world. And that's an operation worth supporting in my book. So. Also,
I just want to say very quickly, if you held a CO2 vaporizer in front of my face and said, Gabe, I'll give you $1 million if you can tell me what this is, I would not be able to tell you what that is. So that's where I am. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way.
No, I know exactly what that is. I have a vast array of CO2. What is it called?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have another beer to drink before we close this out. So
sure do.
We've enjoyed our first act, our opening number, our warm up, if you will, and now we're going to get into one of the most popular beers that the brewery has to their name.
But Bud Light Platinum,
or that. No, it's the Two Hearted Ale. It's the American
one,
IPA.
The only, the man, the myth, the legend.
The Two Hearted Ale. It's 7% ABV, 60 IBUs, so that's pretty classic, although slightly less bitter than some IPAs can be. But this is going to be not a hazy IPA. This is going to be sort of a more classic standard IPA. Beer Advocate has it at 95, Untapped 3.95, and Beer Connoisseur has gotten their hands on this one to give it a 96. So
all very high ratings. I think there were more online, and this was kind of the vibe that everyone had. I mean, everyone loves this beer. Everyone on Beer Advocate quoted it as saying, this is the gold standard of IPAs.
Those are big words.
Amen.
So it initially debuted in 1997, if we hadn't said that yet, but it was a winter seasonal. It took, I think, about 6 years or so before it became part of their year-round offering, as it now is. It's won Best Beer in America several times in a number of different places. From the brewery, bursting with refreshing hop aromas, Two Hearted is our iconic American IPA suited for adventures everywhere. Named after fishing waters in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, Two Hearted is an American IPA brewed and dry hopped with 100% Centennial hops. Beloved by longtime and new craft beer drinkers, Two Hearted is an iconic ale that's perfect for any occasion.
It's won awards on awards. It's been known as the best beer in America by many different panels, many years in a row. It is something that people do not sleep on. All you got to do is look out for this fish that's on the label. If you're on YouTube, just look out for the fish.
And here it is in the glass. I decided to match your Game of Thrones glass with my Game of Thrones glass. Got a pint
we
glass
never
here.
match that up perfectly. Like anytime we do that, I start it or you start it, but we never have it at the same time. Damn it.
It's, I reach for it from time to time, but it's very clear in the glass, which makes it clear to me that it's obviously a West Coast IPA or a standard American IPA, not your hazy New England. The head, she was thick. It was.
Oh, she thick, all right. She's still thick.
Yeah, it's got a lot of retention. I mean, it poured with what I'm going to say was like double this at least. If you're on YouTube, it was probably more than an inch of foam. It was very foamy, but it has receded into a solid half inch that is just not going anywhere. It's just sitting there, pillowy. You could lay down on it and take a comfy nap. It is just floating there. It's great.
And your dreams would run wild. The nose is very fun. It's kind of got a citrus vibe to it. I'm getting a little bit of like grapefruit, orange, lemon, but there is a little bit of like pine and malt, and it's almost has a little bit of like spiciness to it. Just a hint.
Yeah, zesty. It's zesty.
Yeah. It's weird, but I'm into it.
The citrus in here is not very tropical. It's very earthy. It's got a lot of, like you said, grapefruit and orange zest. It does have a pininess behind it. I don't know that I would call this, on the smell, I don't know that I would call it dank, but I would call it earthy, herbal, maybe vegetal.
I am getting a little bit of hoppiness, though. I wouldn't call it dank either, but I would say if you know Centennial hops, if you're a fan of Centennial hops, you'll easily recognize it in this beer, as you should. It's made with only that, but here we are.
Yeah, the bitterness is absolutely there on the nose. I mean, it's very clear that this is going to be an IPA. But again, it's not tropical. It doesn't smell particularly juicy. It smells much earthier than that. It smells like it's going to have a much more sort of herbaceous quality to it, if I could use that word.
This beer is going to put hair on your chest.
Sure. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Yeah, the pithier side of citrus, I guess, is a good way to put it.
I would agree. I would also agree that I think beers were made to be drinking. Drinking.
Sure. It's our podcast. We make up words if we want to. Cheers.
We still can't say foder feeder, so here we are.
Well, I love this. This is really good. It's bitterness right up front. That's the thing. It starts with bite. It starts with hop bite. It does not start with citrus. The citrus is there, but it's a bitter citrus, and it's very, very much a hoppy IPA. It's a classic American IPA. I don't know that I'd put it in the quality of like a hop bomb. It's not like, one of those double IPAs that just like bites your face off, but it's very bitter hoppy. If you like IPAs for the bitterness, if you like old school IPAs, you will like this. That's what this is. It's not a new school IPA. It's not a New England IPA. It's pretty well carbonated in the mouth. It's kind of sticky. It's got a lot of just the Centennial hops are the star of the show for sure. The malts kind of fades into the background for me. They're there a little bit, but it's mostly just like hops on hops on hops, and it's great. It's earthy. It's maybe a little minty. It's like, it's luscious. It's delicious is what it is. If you like that.
I think it's terrible. I'm really not. Okay, no, I'm kidding.
He tried.
I tried. I love it. I think it's great. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just what every good beer should taste like. It's the word standard comes to mind when drinking this beer. I think this is just the way that breweries want obviously, with crazy concoctions and, if you're making a double milkshake IPA, you're not going to want this flavor. But if you're going for a 7% classic American IPA brewed with one hop, this is the standard. This is the baseline. This is the example. And I think for Bell's to be able to have that trademark, that footprint on the beer world is impressive. It's dope. It's great. I think this beer is awesome. I think it's like pillowy in the mouth. There's something a little soft about it in the mouth. And I think it has to do with the head retention because there's that pillowy foam. And I think that adds
to it. And the lacing is good too. And, as it warms, as you get past the initial sort of shock to your palate of the bitter, there is a citrus quality there that's like lemon and grapefruit. But it's just very much, this is the kind of beer that if you want to know what IPAs were before they became what they are now, grab something like this because it's very refreshing. It's got a lot of florality to it. It's got a lot of character, and it definitely leans in on the bitterness. I mean, if you're someone who you like New England IPAs because you always hated IPAs and then you found a New England and you were like, oh, they can be juicy, then you won't like this. But if you're someone like me who is so tired of the New England style because you're like, what happened to the bitter IPAs? Well, it's great to know that there's a brewery like Bell's that's just been churning them out, old school, like I said, and it's delicious and it's balanced. It's not too hoppy. It's not so hoppy it bites your face off. I'll say that again. It is balanced. It's very well balanced.
The bitterness is almost perfect in the back end. I mean, it leaves your throat knowing that you had a beer, the taste of beer, the feeling of beer, but a good quality beer. I think this is another great. This would be how do I put this? This would be the doper barbecue option. I think it would go perfect in a barbecue. It would also go perfect in a craft beer bar and you want to sit and think about it. I think this beer, if you're one of those people that you're not like us, you don't think about the beer, you don't look at it, you don't, think about the flavors and stuff. This is one of those beers that I don't think you have a choice in. You're like, I don't want to think about anything. I just want to drink it. You don't have a choice. Your brain is automatically going to go, what's that? Oh, what's that? But what's that?
To me, this has that quality, though, because it's sold in a six-pack, because it's Bell's, it's so widely available. You can get it anywhere. It does have this quality, like a 6 Point Bengali or something, if that means anything to you, where it could just be a staple in your fridge. And you could just, it's not some big event that, when you drink it, it's like, I only have one. I'm only going to have one for the year. It's not some $10 bottle. It's just a classic beer that you could have in your fridge, and it will just work every single time and make you happy. Again, if you're into IPAs. If you're not into IPAs, you're not
Run
our friend.
away.
No, I'm kidding.
I got this. I'll admit it. I got this beer at a grocery store because it was a little bit cheaper, and I'm a cheap bastard. But anyway, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can go to a grocery store and get this. You can go to a craft beer shop and get this. You can go, depending on where you are, I'm sure you can go into a gas station and get this. It would have to be a
decent one,
well respected one.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, it's the word iconic comes to mind. The word standard, example comes to mind.
Yeah. That's our take on it. That's the taste of the whole thing. But there's one person whose opinion always matters just as much, and that is Mr. Bob Ross. So we're going to see what he has to say about Aldous.
Can Art and Crafts.
Bob, you just want to swim with the fish that's on this logo, don't you? It sounds like him, doesn't it? All right, here we go. So Steven had the amber ale, and he had a big-ass crane on it. And if you know from last week, Steven's not a fan of birds, so I applaud him for going out of his way and getting this beer. Really awesome label. It looks like a reddish crane that's standing in a body of water. So, or not a body of water, but it's standing there, and it looks like it's just hanging out. Well done, solid. You know what that beer is. You won't get it confused. Lager of the Lakes. Light blue with some tan coloring. It looks like it's got a map of the lakes with some fun images, oars, a person. I almost said skiing, but that looks like they're doing the jet skiing thing. A bridge, a leaf, a boat, a fish. It just looks like a little map, and I have an appreciation for that. It just looks fun and different. And then the Two-Hearted Ale is just some fish. And this fish looks like it could be dinner. It could be a catch and release. It could be your best friend. It could be anything you want it to be. That being said, and with the beer being the way it is, I think I'm going to do it. I think I just have to do it. I think Bob Ross is going to do it, and Bob Ross is going to hit the button for me. I think Bell's Brewing is joining the 10 out of 10 club. I mean, I don't know how else you would say no to them or give them any other score. You put the beers next to any other beer, you won't mistake it. You know what it is. It's bright, it's colorful. They do it their style. And they've got these 3 little bells as their logo, and that looks cool. Ding dong, there's the bell. Bob Ross is here. Bob Ross agrees. Bob Ross wants to go fishing. He has the best bait, and he knows what's up. And I'm sure he's been to Michigan once or twice or 4 times. And that's another great edition of Can Arts and Crafts.
So in terms of what Bell's Brewing has to offer, they have a lot. They also have a whole section of their web. You know, it's one of those, again, 40 years. They got a section of their website called Larry's Library where you can enjoy taking a look at the beers that have since, quote unquote, retired. But
Library.
We don't have time for that. But we can shout out some favorites that catch our eye. One that comes to my mind would be their Oberon, which is they took their Oberon wheat ale and then they aged it in bourbon barrels. Mike, don't do the stats!
Exclamation point!
Put it in a barrel with Gabe and Steven.
For a wheat ale that is strong, spicy, warming, and it's 11.3% ABV, and it sounds delicious, and it's available probably just in the winter, but that's one specialty one that comes to mind for me.
I want to give a shout out to one of their more, I'm going to call it simpler beers. It's one of their doubles. It's the Hopslam Ale. It is just one of their strong sellers, and the logo is a person clearly crushed by 3 giant hops. And doing research for this brewery in this episode, I saw a person with this tattoo, and I thought, wow, that's commitment. That's dope. Kind of want one. Not going to get one, but I kind of want one. But the beer just sounds awesome. All different flavors. 10% double. Sign me up.
They have one called the Third Coast Ale, which is a rich caramel base with a heavy hop bitterness. And basically, it's 10.2%. To me, it looks like, it's not exactly this beer, but it basically looks like if the amber ale that I'm currently drinking graduated college. Because this is... This is intense and looks delicious. And then I had mentioned their celebration series. I mentioned the one that they currently have going on, but there are other ones. One that they did was called Going Dark, which was brewed by Bell's employees, and it's a stout representative of the many night missions our veterans were a part of, which is really cool. And it's a coffee bean stout, big coffee aroma, dark chocolate roasty, 6.3%. So that was one that they did. There's a bunch of them. I mentioned they have like 7. I'm
looking at Wild Spruce Chase, annual search for the perfect tree. There's no need to measure this one. Brewed with real spruce tips, this IPA is full and fresh and fits perfectly. 6%. Me oh my, call the doctor.
Hot tip, dangerous if you're allergic to trees. Just throwing that out there. Also, they have a double version of the Two-Hearted Ale that we're drinking right now, and
They sure do.
love to get my hands on that.
Yeah.
So So they have a lot going on. Bell's Brewery, you've heard of them. This is not one that's like some brewery you haven't heard of. This is Bell's, and they're in Michigan, and they're great. And if you've been sleeping on Bell's because you're like, well, they're a big company. No, they're in the category with New Belgium. I mean, they're literally in the category with New Belgium. But
they're their cousins. They're related.
In there. I would put them with Sierra Nevada. I would put them with Stone. I would put them with a lot of these companies that have been around for a very long time, just out here doing what they do. And we owe a lot of what craft beer is to companies like Bell's and to Larry Bell himself. So the beer is great.
Thanks, Larry.
I love it. And with that,
we should probably go. But before we do, we need to talk about someone who's going to rock harder than anyone ever.
Last call.
If you love Metallica, listen up. Because in Brazil, a woman gave birth during a Metallica concert while they were playing, wait for it, Enter Sandman.
And she was at the concert. She wasn't like, it's not like there was a concert going on at the same time and she was safely at the hospital where she should be.
She got special seating because she was 39 weeks pregnant, sitting in a special area at a Metallica show in Brazil when her contractions began during the set. She had posted detailed, mom and baby are doing fine. The Metallica ended up sharing on their social media a lot and basically being like, holy shit, congrats, this is great, yada, yada, yada. But I've never heard of something so badass. You're 39 weeks pregnant and you're like, no, we're going to the show. I don't care if I have the baby. The baby's going to be a Metallica fan too.
I had a different take on it. She said, she was interviewed by, I guess it's Sky News that reported this out, and she was quoted as saying, I'm great physically and trying to understand how this happened. You were 39 weeks pregnant.
Well,
I'm pretty sure the number is 40, and I'm pretty sure once you get in the ballpark, it's kind of generally understood baby could pop at any moment. Like, we don't, you know, at that point, it's out of your hands. It's on the kid. And so I think, ma'am, what's her name? Let's call her out.
Her name is Joyce
Figueroa.
Figueroa.
I don't know.
Figueroa. I don't know how to say it.
We don't know how to say that. But Joyce, you're a little irresponsible going to this concert at 39 weeks. I'm just going to say that.
And I don't think she was. I think her and whoever she was with said, we got tickets. Forget the baby will be fine. They made it. And now during Enter Sandman of all songs, he comes out.
The Sandman entered.
It was she had a son, so it was a boy, but
the Sandman entered in a big way and got
amen.
I don't want to get
at that point you have to nickname your son Sandman, right?
It's just, how people do these natural births or whatever. And there's people that they play like classical music. They want the baby to come out in a soothing environment. They want the baby to come out into the world, to really start their journey on earth in the most, pleasant way possible. Make that transition from womb-like cradling to the harshness of earth in the most seamless way possible. And this baby comes out to Enter Sandman at a live concert. Not only the craziness of the song itself, which is if you had the baby in a perfectly home birth, perfectly serene environment, this would still be the wrong song to play. But now he's hearing that live with drunk people all around this lady. She's on the floor somewhere, just popping out a kid while I feel like that kid is going to have some problems later in life. As a result,
she's popping out a kid while they're hitting the guitar solos, just getting after it.
I mean,
hey,
it's listen. You imagine that you are this kid. You're living your best life. All you have to do is swim in primordial happiness. You just get to be curdled up in the fetal position all day, enjoying the comfort of the circadian rhythm of your. I don't know how all this stuff works.
These Scrabble words. This is amazing. Keep going.
You're just enjoying your life, and then all of a sudden you are thrust not only into the crazy, not into a doctor's room, which in and of itself is traumatizing. No, you're thrust into a Metallica concert in Brazil.
Of all places.
Yeah. And I don't know how you come back from that. I'm just saying the kid's going to end up on a therapy couch someday, and they're going to be trying to figure something out. And the guy's going to go, weren't you born at a Metallica concert? And the kid's going to be like, I didn't think that was important, but yes, I was. And the doctor's going to go, I think our time is up. I think we have nothing left to discuss.
Right. But at the same time, what if this kid gets older and finds out the story? I mean, if I found out this story, I'd be like, well, it's out of my hands. Now fate has decided that I need to be a Metallica fan, number one. I mean, they're a great band on their own. But at the same time, what if he is now able to go to concerts and he's like, this is where I feel safe. I was born at one of these. I mean, you don't know what he's going to go through. You don't know what, it's, I'm sure it could lead to trauma, but it might be good trauma. Beautiful trauma, as Pink would say. Ironically, you read the end of that article.
Ironic that you brought that up, because
ironically, it also happened to Pink. I think she was in England.
Yeah, she was in Liverpool.
Yeah, and somebody had a
kid
to
during
her concert.
It happened to some lady at a Pink concert.
Somebody else, but
Pink didn't give birth to anybody at that point.
I don't know. Metallica gave them a shout out. They should have at least brought her backstage or something. Gave her a free guitar pick or something. I don't know. Help the lady out. She just had a kid.
I don't think she was in any condition to be given a VIP tour.
Let's go home. I need to sit down. I need to sleep.
From what I understand of childbirth, I've never been there, but I mean, I hear it's a brutal experience. I don't think she was going to be wanting to meet.
Maybe not.
Maybe the drummer.
Maybe we'll put that in the books. Maybe go take care of your fresh baked goods. That is your kid. What? It's fresh. It's brand new.
Oh, it's fresh baked. All right.
It's fresh baked.
Well, his name is Luan. He's a couple weeks old. Buddy, I hope.
Luan Sandman Figueroa. That's what I'm calling him.
We'll check in with Luan in 20 years on our round.
Are you good? What kind of music you like?
Round 8,472, and we'll see if he's okay. We'll gravitate with him.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll be fine.
Okay, we're gonna go. With that, we'll be back with another round of excellent beer drinking in 2 weeks. Enjoy your Memorial Day. Enjoy the end of May. I guess we'll see you in June. I don't have a calendar.
Thank you, Bells. Thank you, Larry Bell. Thank you for joining us. If you're at the gym, Mazel Tov, my God. If you're just listening to us on the couch, if you were listening to us at work or on your way to work, we hope you have a great day. But thank you for joining us again. And we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Tell people about the show at the HO Podcast on Instagram, Twitter. You can send us an email, thehopod@gmail.com. Follow us on Apple. Give us a rate and review. We love those. We're on Spotify, Google, all your major platforms, and YouTube. Tell your friends. That's the best thing you can do for us. And until then, we'll see you next week.
Keep it juicy, everyone.
Stone is going to sue us.